If you'd like to join me, here's our Inkblot inspired by, excuse me, the third eye space. If you'd like to take a screenshot so you can scry on your own time and terms for shapes or symbols that speak to your psyche and psychic senses. Thank you so much for joining me, for being here amongst the muse of the third eye space, and I look forward to seeing what may stand out. You can take a moment here if you'd like to join me to close the eyes, releasing the race and the rush, activating the abstract mind and ancient awareness to perceive and receive symbolic support. Let's go. At some point in time as well, I'm going to sit and scribe written scry insights, and I'll post on the community tab. Thank you to all those who like, share, and subscribe, and donate. Thank you. All right, let's go. Okay. No spirit box today as it is charging, so we'll add on tarot and oracle along the way. I'm going to try and say this in the most polite or way I can say it, but I'm up here and I'm seeing something of the higher self realm, and we are in the crown here. Very politely, I'm going to say like humping something earthly. So, but what it brings me into is I feel like there's this union within the frequencies of the self, the higher self to human, and this crown area, if you're here with me, feels like you might have been through some stuff to get to where you are now. No matter where you might sense, feel, or claim in some manner that is like a measurement of man-made measurement, I feel like I want to take a moment to credit you and credit those in this area for the amount of work being done that it's almost immeasurable or not able to be measured in the current systems we have in place. But they do like bump into each other. So, bumping uglies. I don't know. It feels like some work's really been done. And at some point in times, you might have felt like an earthly chicken, and you might have taken the chicken door a few times, or you weren't ready to heal particular things or have certain adventures or choices you've made. You're like, oh, I took the safe route or I took the risky route, whatever the case may be. I feel like it matters simply for you to reflect upon, but it brought you here. And inevitably, this moment is what matters. And it's fertile. It's fertile. If there is spirit up at the top, so I feel like if anyone is having like a thought of becoming preggers or having a baby, you're like, there is a spirit that would be willing, and it has been waiting, if I'm being very honest, has been waiting to potentially incarnate with you in this timeline. And I almost hear like almost like an affirmation, claiming that, because it would be of a higher energy soul or something along that lines. I don't necessarily want to say like old soul, this, that, or the other, but maybe you're just like have a really deep connection to this spirit. If it's not in relation to, human procreation, there's something up in the human landscape, regardless the human channels, that are saying like your thoughts are very fertile because they're being charged with the higher self. Like things will almost like come into union, or they will just come together quickly. So, you know what it kind of reminds me of? I'm getting really, really cold. Like, careful what you wish for. And I say that with not like careful what you wish for, like some, passive aggressive expression, but like conscious what you wish for, being very conscious and subconscious of what what you're wishing for. But you are, or here in the crown space, you are. I'm seeing somebody with, okay, I think they're baboons. Yeah, okay. So I'll share where I'm at right now. Sorry, I'm like super chilly. I'm right over here and here. And I'm seeing like, I believe they're baboons. They could be gorillas. Forgive me, I'm not. Sorry, my blanket is caught. I want to be warm. I do think they're baboons. Sorry. And I don't know if it's like a trumpet or something along that lines. There's something about a sound which is bringing me into, again, what you speak in sound, whether it's human sound, crown sound. You speak things into existence fertilely. I'm going to leave it. As well, to acknowledge or to remind and mirroring the human to the higher self, where like for a human, what the incubation, that's simply the word I heard, is like 9 months typically, but there's something different. So manifestation times can vary. It's not about the size of something. It's I don't know. I don't know all the pieces of what could be being wished for or wanted. So it's almost like saying breathe into your thoughts that you're thinking about this higher self crown space into the earthly embodiment, even energetically through the thoughts, this, that, or the other, because there could be like a gestation time for it to manifest. Okay, so I'm also seeing, I'm right in here, that when we were talking about Pragerland, but whatever that means for you, but I am seeing some sort of family here, like two parents and a baby. I'm also seeing what I think is I'm going to say jungle cat because I'm not sure if it's a panther or a cougar. Again, I don't know enough names verbatim to just roll them off, but I feel like jungle cat, leopard, even like I don't even know. And when like a cat brings you a bird, this is what this feels like. This jungle cat brings you a bird. It's in the spirit of an offering, actually. This sacrifice made, the effort by the jungle cat, the sacrifice of the bird directly brings you the message and it lands at your feet or your doorstep or something along that lines. Okay, any more messages for the third eye space? And I am going to flip this in this reading, so I'll do my best to possibly timestamp it, but at the same time, like, you're empowered. Press pause, come back, fast forward, rewind, right? There is something about an eternal love between somebody might be, if you're not already, with your soul. I'm going to say a soulmate, whether you can turn that measurement into a twin soul or whatever words may float off your tongue is way more important than what I could call it. On the bottom here we have scrying and intuition, which is hi, how you doing? This also could be because we're in the crown space. Oh, and look at that, eternal love is like right behind it. And we were just talking about like that twin soulmate kind of feel. This is like that human in the higher self doing the Humpty Dump. The Humpty Dump. It's very humorous today. All right, I'm going to go with it. Maybe it's because I'm getting warm. And hearth, happiness in our hearts and home. There's that fire. If I can like manifest it and be like, oh, thank you for the warmth. Whatever it is that your heart desires, I feel like is that gorilla baboon. And you know what it brings me into, oddly, when I come at it this time is it Stanley Kubrick? What's that movie? Odyssey? I don't know. So, for those that aren't necessarily focusing on family in the traditional sense or in some sort of familiar presence, this is about your intuition, the higher self, the crown, if I may, working with the human heart. Something is growing happiness, and if it's not, I almost want to hug you and say, how can you add happiness? What could possibly inspire you or pique your interest to consider more happiness? But it's almost like I can see for some, it won't be for all. It's like, well, I'm really happy in my human space, like I have a great life, but just kind of like they say, when people are really really wealthy, then they may lack relationship or love. I don't know. I'm just kind of pulling things from very basic places. And you might feel that way in some way. Like, I'm very higher self happy. I'm very intuitive. And, I do this, but I seem to be lacking in the earthly realm for some reason. Like, it's not translating, and vice versa. And then I come into this, Humpty Dump, and it's like, get everyone on the same page. But it doesn't have to be the same. Like, maybe you are being provided for in different ways. I don't know. We have here Lady de los Muertos, acceptance and equality, invisibility, authenticity. Okay, that's bringing me into the middle space of where the jungle cat was. I'm actually not seeing it as a jungle cat anymore. I'm seeing this as, okay, the closest thing I can share without knowing the words is in the movie V for Vendetta. There's that particular kind of mask, but I think I'm seeing it like some sort of warrior mask. So I don't know if that mask is culturally inspired or what's behind it, or what additions have been made over the years, or even like way, way back. But I feel as though there's like some sort of sleeping warrior in there with that jungle cat feel. Stanley Kubrick with the gorilla baboony things. Some sort of evolution is happening. Evolution of family, evolution of a gift, evolution of the connection between oneself in this crown space, connection between the living and the dead, even. Accepting things for what they are, and if there is that balance or in imbalance, and going, okay, but this is where I'm at, and I have this many tools now to work from here, to play, to be inspired, to maneuver, to mold, to play. I do feel like there's somebody invisible. There's a spirit in this invisibility, authenticity, that is helping. Could even be the spirit that was up at the top. If you're not looking to create a family, there is a spirit supporting you. One quite specifically that stands out from probably what, again, I could commonly say is your spirit team. Queen of Swords, Queen of the Throne of Airs. This might even be your thoughts. Or you might hear it in your thoughts, sorry. Like, I don't know if the camera lets it come through, but it's like way up there. But I feel like they come in inspirations. What is going on over there? Sorry, I'm carrying on a little bit. As always, please feel free to comment below if you see, sense, or feel anything, and inspire our interconnected nature. Okay, I'm seeing I think it's a moose. Yeah, with a maple leaf. Okay, so it is a moose. What's the other one? It's not an elk, but maybe it's an elk. But I am seeing something that was butting heads. So if you're moving into from like butting heads to bumping uglies, I'm so sorry for those terms, but so funny. There's harmony coming through. through working through fears. But I kind of feel like these fears, if this is in regards to, oh my God, are we ready because we are pregnant to have a family? Or, oh my goodness, my gifts are, excuse me, growing, expanding. But, let's face it, like if there's fears, like, have I done enough? Will I do enough? And as you go through, you find those out. That's like the germination, the gestation period. And it's going to be different for so many things. So it's almost like I'm seeing like a releasing out of these nostrils of this warrior mask, of whether this is of your protective nature or spirit guide, something along just part of your team. It's like, we are looking out for you as well. So can you trust? Can you trust yourself? Can you trust to an extent the unknown? I'm also seeing two hands. Like if you're playing like Barbie dolls or wrestling dolls, I don't know, whatever the case may be. And then, you're playing and you're like, bah, 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 bah. No, let's go over here. That's what I'm seeing. Somebody might be placed in front of you, or you might be a person placed in front of somebody else. You're like, oh, hi. And for some reason you're talking, or you already know them and they're expressing something differently, hidden, and it comes through this authenticity that was invisible to you before, and you're like, oh, I might be able to help you with that, or vice versa. Or is simply this new union of universal thought starts to coalesce. I'm seeing as cheers as well. So again, it comes like this higher connection, whatever way it is. Saying cheers, human and higher self, cheers. Okay, what did we have come out here? Oh my goodness. We had universe that came facing up, and face down underneath it is the Ace of Pentacles, Lord of the root and powers of earth. This is that truly as above, so below feel. Oh my goodness. And we were in the Queen of Swords when we were talking about that someone else, but then 10 of Cups here is on the bottom. And this is what's grounding. And Temperance just wanted to pop out. It's, how like when I'm seeing when somebody might be like really good at taking their temperature if they're not feeling well or just feeling a little off. And one key way is to like take your temperature. And I see those in the third eye realm taking temperatures of things as I'm coming into the bottom here. As my, will it show? There it is. Silver spirit. Okay, working with the earthly embodiment and the energetic higher self embodiment. And then I'm seeing it like, just like this. Be like, hey, what am I focusing on? Like, manifesting. Whatever sort of, it's definite magician vibes, one way or the other. Whatever it is. Okay. I just flipped it to win it. So I'm going to write down so I can. 18, 15. Okay. Let's keep going here. I'm going to close my eyes for a moment to cleanse the palette of perception. Thank you so much for those who like, share, subscribe, donate, buy me a coffee. Your support is truly grateful and warms my heart. And if you're interested in a personal, link is also below. Okay. So now I'm seeing hands that are like doing that. Like, okay. But like, okay. Sorry, that banging noise is from my basement if you just heard it. There is silver bones. Like if I was in a desert and saw like the skull of something, I'm seeing that. But they're still alive. It's just like their essence I can still see. I'm also seeing baby goats. Yep, they're baby goats. They're quite playful, like those small goats. And I'm also seeing either like really tiny peacocks or doves or some sort of bird. And they rest upon right about the collarbone area. Okay. And I'm going to see if I can share this. So there's where like the baby goat up here. This is where like those little birds are on the collarbone area. And I'm seeing like the heart space here. But then if I take this negative space, I'm seeing like Casper the Friendly Ghost. And it's like right up in here. This earth high heart. I'm also seeing like, okay, so much is coming through. I'm going to try not to, no, I'm just going to spit it out. That's fine. A corset. I don't, but it's something like this squeeze. Now, maybe you are working on your figure to embody your more of, or this coalescence of the human and higher self coming in from the crown. Maybe it's downloads, if downloads are coming in. And they could also, when I was seeing those skull things that are still alive, but definitely in the higher realms, could be angels, guides, whatever you want to call them, that's fine. But I'm seeing them as ancient, so it could also be ancestors or a portion of yourself. So they're still very much alive. Those birds have now changed from, little peacocks or doves into deer. And these deer play with the goats. There's some sort of fun, playfulness that you don't even know you're learning. You don't even know that you're learning, but because it's so friggin' fun. Anyway, so I'm coming into the squeeze, this corset, and it's like, but it's rising up this Casper the Friendly Ghost in this, Casper corset, I'm going to call it. And then I see like these really beautiful, like hip bones. Like, see this figure I'm talking about? And I'm not trying to glorify the hourglass figure. I think it's just showing me really prominent pieces of body. Somebody's hips might be okay. So somebody's hips might be a little bit not angry, but stiff. Like even for myself, like, you're sitting, whether it's at a desk or you're cross-legged, this, that, or the other. Really take time to nurture that hinge point. Get the joints moving, this, that, or the other. Yeah, okay. Pandora's Gift. Releasing allegiances, and be the hunter, not the hunted. I'm going to take a quick... Be the hunter, not the hunted is bringing me right up into that silver space where I was seeing the bones and the birds. That ancient wisdom of sorts. And you know what I just heard? It's like, don't hunt yourself. Don't hunt down flaws. Don't hunt down and search for your failures. It's just you having fun, learning. The outcomes are measured like from the human standpoint of going, oh, that was a failure, but the higher self was like, that was a success. Sometimes knowing what didn't work out or pan out actually served you in the longer run of where you are now, to go, oh, thank goodness that didn't work out as planned. And releasing allegiances, that feels like it's in the hip and that squeeze. And see how like there's a little bit of a contortion in that of the hip space. Okay, you are doing A-okay. Embodying what the many selves amongst the self. Okay, so talking about Casper in that squeeze and bringing Casper out is Pandora's Gift. And it's all right up in that space. Whew, can you feel that for a second? Like, this is like some higher self help from you, for you. Oh, it's beautiful. Okay, I'm going to start moving on down here. Is that a bee or a fly? I'm also seeing what I think is a baby dragon, or it's a dragonfly. Dragonfly symbology may mean something to somebody. I'm also seeing the peace sign. I'm also seeing bear paws, but this bear is friendly. So it could be a spirit animal around you. It's kind of bringing me back up to the silver. You know what's interesting? Okay, so the silver ancient something or other, whoever or other. But this time the bear brought me back up there. And I had a very like indigenous vibes. But ironically, when the indigenous bear brought me up, I suddenly saw it as like an alien airship. Very specifically those words. So I have to lick my thumb with these cards. Agape, the king, the poet, the judge, and the temple. On the bottom is the one. In this crown space, you are the one. You are 10 of Cups, Lord of perfected success. Which, if I may, right underneath that, 4 of Wands, Lord of perfected work. It's working. Be the judge, yes, but not favor failures or successes in only one way. Does that make sense? I feel like it makes sense, and I don't. If you get it, like there's a spectrum of it all. The king sees what could, or the male energy of the self can see sometimes be the hunter, not the hunted. If something's not working out for me, I will also be brave and say, no, thank you. Because it works for you, it doesn't mean it's going to work for me. And just because this was a success or a failure, this or that, do you know what I'm saying? That's like in that conversational space. There's that gift in another way of something about your work, your blood, sweat, and tears. And in this, sorry, it's trying to come through without me like constipating it. The human and higher self, it's like the higher self is the deer, very gentle, and the human is the goat playing around, symbolically speaking, and those also just may mean something to you. I don't know how to express how beautiful this feels right now, if you're here with me still, that you are poetically, see these hands, or I don't even know if they are hands, it doesn't matter, up here, and I'm up here as well. Like you are just so beautifully poetically harmonizing with complete agape love from those on earth, from those in spirit, and making this whole grid as the temple of you, in the current temple of you, the transmitter of who you are, receiving from your crown information from your angels, from aliens, from your higher self, from this whole collective, really, from this whole collective of all those birds up there. Is it Pandora's box or Pandora's gift? You be the judge, because you're going to be the one who does something with it. Okay, so I'm getting ready to close out here, and I'm right at the bottom. Is there any other cards we're going to add on? Oh, we're going up there. Okay, there we go. Those pelicans? Maybe vultures. Again, they're cradled. These vultures are like resting, it's almost like I can see them exchanging. You know how like the vultures, like nothing gets wasted, and that's in that whole kind of what makes me feel like success, failures, this or the other. Nothing gets wasted. Everything, you know, is a every blade of sand, every blade of grass and every grain of sand is important for the whole for the whole sandbox or etc. to exist. Anyway, so these male pelicans, maybe, because it keeps, or vultures, nothing has been wasted. And they're supported in like these chairs that they're in by the female energy of the higher self in this context, in this respect. It's almost as if I can see like your higher self creates the conditions for your human heart to go through things and to be held to really say what it wishes and it wants. And here's something else really odd that I'm seeing. I don't know if everyone has them or if it's just, something I've seen at my girlfriend's house. But just at her house, I don't know if it's like a porcupine or if it's some sort of something or other, but it's this statue type thing at her doorsteps outside, and where the porcupines would be is more like a brush, so you can like scrape the bottom of your shoes, like if you're coming in, because we're out in the country and it's muddy, this, that, or the other. I'm seeing one of those, like, I don't know if cleaning off the bottom of your shoe or something along that lines. I'm also seeing a lion with an overgrown mane I can't see. So something about what's coming through for me anyway is a maturity. So if there's any sort of fear about trimming things back, because it's like, well, I've taken so long to grow this, whatever it may mean, in this maturity, it's almost like you can trim it back and it's fine. You've already reached the maturity point. There's no going back to adolescence. You can, if you've been having that thought. And then there's also somebody on their hands and knees, and they are like sticking their head into what looks like a cloud of the unknown, but very specifically the word is mystic or like mystical. So somebody's head might be in the clouds, or you're considering, again, it might be through this union or interaction with somebody or something that inspires you through some authentic I keep wanting to say authenticity, authentic expression of something that was once invisible. So something is coming to fruition. So we have here Queen of Cups and the Prince of Wands. Oh, don't worry that they're upside down. Most of my cards are. As we're getting ready to close out here for the crown space. Like, look at that. A heart power in that Prince space. Goddess be given. Goddess be giving. Yeah, there's that, like, for whispering what you want. Like, I think it was like way back in the beginning, like, say what you want, this, that, or the other. Yeah. Not careful. Careful what you wish for, but consciously put it out, wish. 7 of Pentacles. This feels like a Garden of Eden is where I'm at. And for some, like maybe in working through the human and higher self, it feels like you're between two rocks, but knowing there's like space back there. There's something else, and I'm working with this, but it's really saying like, this is your current garden. This is the conditions that you wanted to grow in. These truly are. And nothing's meant to be a punishment. Something about perspective and judgments. And measurements anyway. But again, like, A-okay. I don't think sometimes we give each other enough credit, or there's so much credit that you're like, oh, we're all doing great. Like sometimes like getting participation badges in that whole thing, like, did you get a participant? I cannot speak. Participation badge or trophy. I know everyone has their opinions on that. Should you only get, the ribbon if you win or lose, or this, that, or the other? I'm indifferent to reconciling that for anyone, but that's what it feels like. And like, you literally chose to be here because it offers you the most, and this judgment of, and measurement, just, I just feel like there's more ways to measure. So like you're doing absolutely fantastic and embodying your crown energy, whatever it is that you're downloading, whatever it is that you're receiving, whatever it is that you're uploading and you're exchanging with other earthlings. And I don't know, I feel like it's fantastical. Okay. Truly closing out here. 9 of Wands, 3 of Wands, and the Prince of Wands. Lots and lots of wand energy. So if that stands out to you, please, please, please follow that versus my yammerings. Male and female again. It's the Princess of Wands. Male and female. There is, and just representing for me in that space of the energy works differently. The battles, if I may, the battles while being, just being a human, or even otherwise. I'm going to say it. I feel like things are going to get easier. Things are going to get easier because you're leaning into it with like a particular amount of trust and openness. And like at some point in time, something might have been like so extraneous to do. And then you're just going to be able to like sit and be like, done. Like I don't know. It just feels like it's going to gravitate. Whatever it is that your perspective and your passion, your heart squenches out of you. Oh, it feels brilliant. Okay. And as we're closing out here, right in there, I want to put this card right in there. 3 of Wands. The man, the human. The Emerald City. I always see this card as the Emerald City. But of course, always follow what you want it to be. It's like wherever you might have gone through, been doing, going, even, of course, even of myself as I sit here and explore this reading with you, you can't see the Emerald City as everything you've been doing it has been building it. Does that make sense? Like, not every piece necessarily of like the yellow brick road. Not only were you, putting each brick in as you're taking steps, there's also your higher self, like that's the human kind of symbology. And then the higher self, the crown version, your consciousness, whatever you want to land in, as you were putting yellow bricks, taking your steps and doing your things, they were building in cooperation the actual Emerald City. So one's moving this way and one's kind of moving this way. And I feel like for right now, you could be at a point where your brick road, bones and meat suit, is meeting what's so far in the Emerald City that you've essentially created, crown style. Oh, I love it. Thank you so much for joining me. That was an amazing adventure. I kind of feel like we just like wandered through like a Disney fairy tale or something like that, or a Disney movie, and to come all the way down to, is it The Wizard of Oz? I'm suddenly having a moment, but time is on your side. I'm almost like seeing too, like along the pathways of where you've been, you might have left like graffiti, if, at some point in time, like some rebellious natures, or again, those disappointments, but I'm seeing it as graffiti now. And then it transforms into art. It's like, oh, I remember that. Yeah. And it's like that becomes a sigil, and it becomes a happy thing to reflect upon. Cause it's like, oh, that looks so good. I remember, like, I felt so angry, but man, that graffiti, so good. Okay. I'm going to let you go. Thank you so much for joining me. And until next time, I scry.